Some people are starting to learn a new language as this new year begins, but specifically speaking, which ones are useful in the future? Don't forget to subscribe to Lang Explorer to show your support. While some of you are perhaps planning to start studying a new foreign language as New Year's resolution, others aren't quite sure which specific languages they are to choose for this purpose. Which of the so many languages that exist in the world are most likely to be useful for you in the future, given your own circumstances? In this video, we'd like to tell you the languages that seem to be potentially valuable. Actually, it isn't easy to master a foreign language after only 1 year of study, but even so, your foreign language skills will be significantly improved if you make up your mind to spend this year for this language. A number of people might be planning to begin studying a new language with a fresh mind for this new year, but on the other hand, there are so many different languages in the world that it's quite normal to wonder which one to study. In this video, we'd like to tell you a few options that may expand your potential if you start learning a new tongue in 2024. We'd like to begin this video with the fact that no language is absolutely useful for everybody, while those with a considerable number of speakers, such as Spanish and Chinese, tend to be more handy. It's your own lifestyle that determines which one is the most helpful for you. For instance, Finnish will be very useful if you're married to a Finnish citizen, while Amharic is essential if you work closely with Ethiopia. And, while speaking English only is enough when you visit a non-English speaking foreign country as a tourist to stay there for a short period, such as a few weeks, the picture changes drastically when you move there. You need to acquire enough language skills, at least B1 and CEFR, to interact with locals in your daily life once you go out of the circuit for tourists. As for European languages, German, French, and Spanish are the ones that are particularly useful. German is the language with the largest number of native speakers within the European Union, and its knowledge is helpful since Germany is the driving force of the European economy. French is spoken not only in France and some other European countries, but also in Africa, in Canada, mainly in Quebec, some islands in the Caribbean Sea and the Indian Ocean, and some territories in the Pacific Ocean, such as New Caledonia and French Polynesia. In comparison, while no Spanish-speaking country is as influential as Germany or France, the language is spoken in nearly 20 Latin American countries ranging from Mexico to Argentina, and by 50 million people in the United States. In addition, Spanish is very similar to Portuguese, and those who are fluent in Spanish can communicate to some extent in Portuguese-speaking countries. It isn't impossible to reach B1 in a year if you spend at least 1 hour per day to study one of these languages. Watch this video to understand furthermore the features of these 3 languages, or watch this one if you want to focus on French language. As for non-European languages, Chinese and Japanese have been traditionally popular, while recently, more and more people are showing interest in learning Korean as K-pop is getting widespread. Chinese is by far the most spoken language in the world, while reading and writing is extremely hard because you need to learn thousands of Hanzi. In other words, Chinese characters, on top of learning its complex phonology with tones. Japanese is more straightforward in terms of pronunciation and also in terms of writing thanks to its own phonetic letters called hiragana and katakana, although it also uses kanji, Japanese pronunciation of Hanzi, but its grammar is far more complicated than Chinese, requiring you to pay more attention. Korean pronunciation is relatively complex, although not as much as Chinese as it's devoid of tones, and reading is relatively easy because nowadays only phonetic characters called Hangul are used. Watch this video to learn more about these 3 languages. These languages are so difficult that, although you spend 90 minutes per day or 11 hours per week, you can only get to A1 or A2 if you make tremendous efforts. Regarding languages in Southeast Asia, the most important one is Indonesian, which is close to Malay, and speakers of both languages amount to more than 300 million people in 5 countries, namely Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Timor-Leste. The language is straightforward in grammar and pronunciation, and the Roman alphabet exempts you from the need to learn new characters, which would be the case of Burmese, Khmer, Lao, and Thai in this region. Therefore, this language is easier to study, and you can reach A2 in a year if you study for 1 hour per day. If you learn other Southeast Asian languages, such as Thai and Vietnamese, you need to make slightly more effort to achieve the same level. Watch this video to learn more about languages in Southeast Asia. Arabic can be another important language, as it's one of the official languages of the United Nations and is spoken in a number of countries, ranging from the Middle East to Africa. Arabic has two sorts of variants. One is called Fusha, or literary standard Arabic that is used throughout the Arabic-speaking world at formal occasions, and another one is Ammiya, colloquial variants of modern Arabic that differ so much from one dialect to another that even natives can't understand some of them, so you need to study both Fusha and Ammiya to conduct your life there. The Egyptian dialect is relatively well understood, however, as the Egyptian pop culture is accepted across all Arabic-speaking countries, so opting for the Egyptian dialect is a good option if you aren't planning to settle in a specific country. According to the Department of State of the United States, Arabic is one of the hardest languages to learn, together with Chinese and Japanese, so a lot of efforts are needed to get to A2 in a year. We'd like to recommend Turkish as another language worth studying. Turkish is the most widely spoken of the Turkic languages and is related to Azeri, which is spoken in Azerbaijan and northwestern Iran, as well as other Central Asian languages such as Uzbek, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, and Turkmen, so you can understand such languages to some degrees after you master Turkish. In particular, Azeri is so close to Turkish that you can speak Turkish in Azerbaijan, and locals can understand you. Although Turkish is written in the Latin alphabet, it has some similarities with Japanese and Korean, with verbs coming last and nouns having particles to indicate case. Some people who are interested in Turkish may want to start learning other Turkic languages, but it would be a good idea to start with Turkish, which has the largest number of speakers among Turkic languages, with relatively more resources to learn. The difficulty level of Turkish is basically the same as that of Southeast Asian languages, so it isn't unrealistic to plan to reach A2 in a year if you study well. Last but not least, we'd like to tell you how to allocate your time to brush up your language skills, consisting of the following 5 ones: reading, listening, writing, speaking, and vocabulary grammar. Listening tends to call for less attention, so you can improve it while you drive a car, you go to work by train and/or you do some chores at home, such as cooking and cleaning. But the other 4 skills demand more concentration, and we recommend you spend at least 1 hour per day in order to improve them: reading, writing, speaking, and vocabulary grammar. Now, let's summarize what we've learned today. 1. No language is absolutely useful for everybody. 2. It's necessary to reach at least B1 in local language if you want to enjoy living in a non-English speaking country. 3. Among European languages, German, French and Spanish are the most popular ones, and it's up to where in the world you want to exchange. It's possible to get to B1 from 0 after 1 year of study. 4. East Asian languages, Chinese, Japanese, and Korean, are very different in pronunciation, writing and grammar, and you need to make extra efforts to reach A2. 5. As for Southeast Asian languages, Indonesian is the most useful one, because of the huge number of its speakers in a broader sense. That is more than 300 million, as it's very similar to Malay, on top of its simple grammar and the use of Latin alphabet. 6. While Arabic is spoken in different countries, it's necessary to pay attention to the difference between literary standard Arabic and colloquial Arabic, and the latter has a number of dialects. Also, Arabic is one of the most difficult languages, so spare enough time to study it. 7. Turkish can be useful as it's closely related to other Turkic languages, such as Azeri, Uzbek, and Kazakh. This language is less complicated than Arabic. 8. While you can improve listening skill when you do something else, like commuting and doing domestic chores, you need to focus on other 4 skills: reading, writing, speaking, and vocabulary grammar. It's recommended to spend at least 1 hour to brush up such 4 skills. Thank you for watching this video. We're looking forward to seeing you in the next one.